Tigers just working it around the perimeter. Young launches the three and connects. The 5'11" junior transfer out of Oklahoma City comes in averaging just 8.5 points per game, but a very balanced offensive attack for Pacific. Off the miss, Joe Ford has the rebound, the captain of this Tigers team.
That's one way to break down the zone, hit some of those outside shots, but they don't want to settle. Pacific's got some bigs inside. They've got to go in and out.
5-2 Tigers in the early going. Both teams coming in second place in their respective conferences. New Mexico State out of the WAC, Pacific out of the Big West.
It's a couple of air balls now from Pacific. We've seen him settling for some outside shots without working it inside against the zone.
Rahman strong underneath.
He is tough, and Pacific's got a big focus, and that's hitting the boards. If there's a miss from New Mexico State, Rahman's big time on the glass.
Now we see the trap for New Mexico State, and they back out of it. Another factor defensively for the Aggies.
They'll mix it up. They like to play a 1-2-2 zone. They'll go full court press.
Another three for Young.
How about Young? Breaking down that zone.
6 of the first 8 points for Demetrius Young. He came in shooting 37% from beyond the arc. Turnaround by Rahman, and he has the answer.
You gonna let him do that? It's your buddy. You were shaking hands with him before the game.
Pacific breaks out of the trap. Will reset its offense. Tigers just averaging 65 per game, as we mentioned, just under 45% shooting as a team. And a good move inside by Sam Willard, 6'9" junior out of South Dakota, the leading scorer and rebounder for this Tigers team.
And they finally got a chance, Pacific did, to get it inside to Sam Willard.
Out of bounds, it'll go back to the Tigers. It's been a frantic pace to start. 10-6 Pacific on a couple of threes by Demetrius Young. He has the Tigers out front early. College basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66 Gasoline, specially formulated to clean fuel injectors and help maximize mileage. We've had a clean game to start here between New Mexico State and the University of the Pacific. No fouls in the first 4.5 minutes here, and 16 points combined. Has been clean so far, and the tempo has been frantic, and you would have to believe that's what the head coach Marvin Menzies would like to see in his 3rd season as the Aggies head coach. And first 2 years he took them to the WAC championship game.
Yeah, you know what he has been able to do, an assistant at multiple big-time programs coming in from Louisville. He was at UNLV, USC. He's coached with a lot of big-time coaches, and he brings a system. He says, hey, if you're open, shoot it, and we're going to run, we're going to pressure. Love to play for a coach like that. Certainly
credits the tutelage of his old bosses, Rick Pitino at Louisville and Steve Fisher at San Diego State, to his success so far in the New Mexico State program. Terrell Smith saves it from going out of bounds with a foul down low. Check out the head coach of the University of the Pacific, Bob Thomason, in his 22nd year with the Tigers, one of just 10 coaches right now to be with their teams for that long. But against New Mexico State, he struggled in his coaching career, just 6 and 18 coming in, as Sam Willard knocks down the 15-footer, and he has 6.
They're going to look to Sam as often as they can, and especially on the interior. We mentioned, though, he can step out and shoot the 3, but they need to start attacking the zone inside.
Came in as the Tigers' leading scorer at 10 points per game, but that has dipped in conference play down to about 8.5. Coming off a good performance, though, in the last time out against Long Beach State, where he had 16. LaRoche blocked away by Joe Ford. He is extremely athletic, and a travel will give it back to Pacific.
The mismatch defensively, Joe Ford at 6'6", goes up against LaRoche at just 6'1". And Joe Ford has an impressive wingspan at 7 feet. He is so athletic.
Tigers working quickly on offense. And another three from Young, not this time. He's the Tigers' leading scorer in conference play. Again, this is a non-conference matchup, but recent history has been in the conference play for both of these teams. Good look underneath for New Mexico State as Troy Gillenwater has his first 2 points, the sixth man off the bench for the Aggies. Only his 5th game of the season, missed the first 21 games this year on academic suspension. Took a little bit longer for him to come back because of the appeals process, which he won.
Well, and you look at where the Aggies are now at 16-9, and not having those guys, 2 big factors on this team, filling in the 4 and 5 spots. And now they have a much more balanced team.
In the non-conference schedule, New Mexico State has struggled on the road. In particular, a 100-68 loss to St. Mary's, another game where they lost by that same exact score at UCLA. And Coach Menzies just told us before the game, we weren't the same team. This is a completely different team now with Gillenwater, who right on cue tries the 3 and misses.
Just his 4th game now he's come back to play in, and in his first game back had a double-double. He was ready to go, but luckily for New Mexico State, those 2 guys able to practice with the team while they were out.
Gillenwater, 3 of his first 4 games, he scored at least 18 points off the bench. In transition, it's Gibson, and 2 free throws for him. Jonathan Gibson, top 10 in the nation in threes per game, but you also saw what he can do in his ability to drive to the bucket as well, Krista. One of 2 players on this team, along with Jamar Young, who are in the top 10 in scoring all time at New Mexico State.
Yeah, how about that? Over 1,000 points, actually over 1,300 for Gibson.
And just 2 away here from the 1,400 plateau. He knocks down these 2 free throws.
Jonathan Gibson right here, number 22 for New Mexico State. He's the only player back that really has true experience. This is a team that went to the NCAA tournament in 2007, and that was Jonathan's freshman season. He got some of that experience at the NCAA tournament.
Talk about how much firepower this Aggies team has. Gibson is the 2nd leading scorer on this team, and he himself has had 9 games of 20 points or more, and that free throw gives him 1,400 points in his New Mexico State career.
Here's a 1-2-2, and they're going to trap if they get the opportunity.
Dangerous cross-court pass, but Pacific handles it. It's been exclusively zone and traps for the Aggies so far. Newville tried the lob, but couldn't get it inside. Now New Mexico State will go to work, and Gillenwater with an easy 2.
Sam Willard stepped over for Pacific for the help. Nobody rotated down defensively, and it was a wide open layup.
And timeout. Pacific could not get the ball inbounded. They've done a decent job so far breaking that trap. That's the first time we've seen them a little bit rattled.
Well, Bob Thomason's team's been playing man-to-man. He said he's not afraid to throw some zone out there.
Well, it's Judgment Week in the men's college basketball season, and action continues Tuesday night in the Big East Conference as Wes Johnson and the 5th-ranked Syracuse Orange take on the Providence Friars, who are looking for a little bit of revenge from their big defeat at the Carrier Dome earlier this year. It's men's college basketball as part of Judgment Week, presented by Miller Lite on ESPNU and ESPNU HD. That's Tuesday at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Been at their school for the past 22 seasons.
Yeah, what a list. And Bob Thomason right there, 22nd season here at Pacific. Played ball here at Pacific.
And Jim Boeheim has been a vocal proponent of expanding the NCAA tournament as of late, and you would have to believe these 2 teams might agree with that. Unlikely to get at-large bids this season. Out of the timeout, Pacific can't get a bucket, but the scramble for the ball, and Joe Ford has it, and we have a jump ball. It'll go back to New Mexico.